All right. Good morning, folks. We continue with the Maimer Isha Achas. So the uniqueness of this Maimer is that the the normal way for a person to conduct themselves is based on the feelings that they have, which is produced from the understanding and the awareness that they have of anything. So when you have a strong feeling towards something or someone, um, that's the motivator. That's what pushes us forward, right? You're here right now because you have a feeling to learning Chassidus in the morning, and that is a motivator, right? That feeling of perhaps of feeling connected through the learning, feeling you know more whole, feeling more wiser, whatever but the feeling that it's uplifting, and our mind we're speaking about when the soul doesn't have that. It's empty vessels. You feel empty, yet God says fill up that empty vessel, fill it up, right? Fill it up with doing another mitzvah. Where is it coming from? Then the motivator. Where is that coming from? So it's not coming because you love God and you love the mitzvah, you have reverence for it, you have awe for God, and that's your motivator because you're empty of that. It's coming from that one jug of oil that's being poured from, right? That is metaphorically the core of your soul. Because the core of your soul is bound up with God. The problem with the core of our soul is we don't really experience it. We experience feelings. We experience understanding. We know what it means is that, like, when you're confused about something and all of a sudden the light goes off and eureka, I got it. Okay, this makes sense now. Oh, now that it makes sense, you have a taste for it. And that feeds your feelings, and that becomes the motivator in life. So here, saying that, Isha Achas, the oneness of the soul, doesn't have it. My husband died. Husband referring to the fire of the soul, the passion of the soul. It's died. Not only that, the creditors, my negative side, wants to come and take away my offspring, my children. My offspring bring feelings, love and reverence, and awe. Children being that they are offspring of our awareness, of our understanding, of our minds, right? That's what produces it. From being taken away to other pastures, yeah, to love, comfort, to love glamour, to love, um, just feeling good about me. So, we're all going to we all want to feel good about ourselves. It's another thing to love that, to get carried away with that, right? So Hashem says, Elisha, what's left inside of you in your house? Nothing except one jug of oil representing the core essence of the soul. Just pour into the empty vessels. Pour. And you'll see from it, you're going to have lots of full vessels of oil that you'll be able to give to the creditor, and you'll be left with a lot that you could live your life, you and your children. So the question is, the empty vessel, what does it mean empty? So there's two explanations of empty. What does it mean when we feel empty? No. Give me one moment, folks. So what does it mean empty? That we're empty. And sometimes we feel empty. What does that mean? So now Rebbe gives two explanations. That the emptiness is we're empty of the love and reverence / awe of God, of the mitzvah, right? Yet we do the mitzvah. In other words, the act of the mitzvah we do, which is represented in the vessel, right? Fill the vessel, you're filling it from the core of your soul. That's your motivator. Like, hey, I'm a Jew and, it's Shabbos. Hey, I'm a Jew and, I put on tefillin. I'm not doing it with love. I'm doing it, right? So you're doing it because that's who you are. That's you know, that's the core of you. Again, that's a hard motivator in the sense because you don't have the inner workings of the soul, which is the mind and the heart engaged. Um, so, but yet it's the core of ourselves and that awareness. So, okay, that's my commitment. So the emptiness is one explanation is empty because I'm feeling I don't have the love and awe of God in the mitzvah. It's not filled. Another that the emptiness is that I'm actually feeling towards yourself, not towards anybody else, a sense of bitterness. Bitter because you're feeling empty. You want more in your life. You want the deeper connection. And you're feeling bitter that you don't have it. That's an interesting idea. So the Rebbe in the Maimer explains that the first one of your feeling the emptiness of your of the love and reverence towards God is great. Why? I mean, in other words, that you're sensing that emptiness, and that's the point over here. Why? Because that allows us to make up that we dig deeper in ourselves and, hey, not feeling it, but yet uh, I know in the core of my soul, I'm not experiencing it, but I know that I'm connected, and doing the mitzvah is, you know, is the appropriate thing to do. I'm connected in the core of my soul. Again, I'm not experiencing it. I know it. And so the power of the essence of the soul is great. It's the core of you. That's a great light that overcomes the darkness of not having the feelings towards the mitzvah or towards God. Right? It's a great light. And here, in the fact that you're lacking, there's a darkness, an emptiness, that's a darkness, in that we don't have the feelings. This is like a stronger light that overcomes and reaches to a further place, a more distant place, which in a sense there is a distance in our connection because there isn't a feeling. We feel empty, but still we have a motivator that's a very powerful light. Again, we're not experiencing it, except that it becomes my motivator. I choose it to be my motivator. So that's amazing. But even more and greater than that is a sense of bitter in myself that I'm feeling empty. The emptiness is the bitterness that I'm feeling of being distant in my connection. This is my connection again because I'm not experiencing it with a feeling of love. And that bothers me. Says the Rebbe, that's greater. You know why? Because that's as if the darkness itself now turns to light. And the first, we have a greater light, the core of the soul. And here, bitterness, which is a darkness, it turns the darkness into light itself. Bitterness is not a negative thing, right? Bitterness is not feeling guilty. Guilty, just to make sure we have a clarity over here, guilty is a heavy weight. You feel, ugh, I, like, feeling lousy and guilty for what I did. It makes you heavy. It makes you saddened. That's heavy. Bitterness is the opposite. You're not heavy. You're not saddened. Bitterness is full of life. How could I have said that? How could I have done that? Oy, how could I not be more sensitive? How could I not be more aware or more connected or, whatever it is, right? That is is taking that emptiness, that darkness, and kind of transforming it, that the darkness itself becomes light. In other words, the bitterness is what compels you to greater emergence, to greater growth, to greater commitment, to greater, ultimately, to lead to love and awe of God. That's a pretty powerful idea. So, we always speak about light is greater than darkness because light illuminates. Darkness is, concealing. There's a level of darkness that's greater than light. That darkness itself, um, I'm trying to see the verse over here. Yoshis Cheshech Sisra. God placed darkness as his hidingness. This is darkness that's greater than light. Usually there's a level of darkness that's lesser than light, and therefore you need the light to illuminate the darkness, right? But then there is when you meditate upon the fact that you're empty, that brings you to and that emptiness, meaning the bitterness that you feel in that emptiness, that you're right, that darkness reaches you to a place of the idea of darkness that's beyond light, beyond the luminary of light, the source of light even. Because think about it, light and darkness is an invention of God. What makes more one greater than the other? Only it from God. Is he light? So he's only light, in reference to the human condition that, oh, light. Yeah. Hey, darkness. But God is the creator of both. He's the one who sets darkness as, a concealment. But it's not a concealment of him. So any darkness is not a concealment of God. So through bitterness, we can reach that bitterness itself becomes the source of something greater than light itself. It's a hard concept. I'll leave you to try to think about it. So the just to how that might express itself is sometimes we go through a dark period, but we know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. That's the first way of, you're empty and you do the mitzvah anyways. It'll lead you to light at the end of the tunnel. It'll lead you to love and awe of God. But then there's a darkness that it itself is not doesn't negate the light. It doesn't reduce the light. It's even greater than the light. It's not that it leads me to something more. It itself is more. The sense of the bitterness itself is more. Because that bitterness is a force in you that is not that it just leads you to more, it itself is more. So when we experience that, wow, we touch something beyond. It needs more hesber, more explanation. Mitzvah Hashem, it will come. All right, folks.